Hey guys, oh gosh, yeah, I'm kind of a disaster. We have had a pretty, oh my gosh, why? A pretty intense snow situation here in the Portland, Oregon area. So I haven't worked all week and I feel a little stir crazy. I haven't gone outside. I haven't gone outside in like 4 days. Ooh, so I'm just gonna talk about I'm going to do some book reviews. I don't know, whatever. I'm here today to talk about A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. This was the second book that I read for my Around the World in 52 Books challenge this year. It fulfills the challenge. I can't speak. It fulfills the challenge of reading a book that's told from at least two different perspectives. So I had literally no idea what this book was before starting it. For some reason, I was like kind of nervous. I feel like at least one person that I know said that this book was not good, and I don't know who it was or when that happened, but whatever they said must have had a strong impression on me because I was convinced I wasn't going to like this, to be quite honest. I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely has more than two perspectives. I forget how many chapters there are. Oh gosh, 13 chapters, and every single one is from a different perspective. Sorry, just got an email. So I didn't really quite realize this going into the book, and so our first chapter is told from a person's perspective, and then the second chapter is told from someone else's perspective who knows, like, they know each other. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it'll just go back and forth, whatever. And then the third one was told from someone else's perspective at a different time period. So I feel like it kind of yeah. I don't know. I don't know if not knowing that, I don't know. Like, I don't know if knowing that about the book would have changed my perception or my ideas of the book going into it, but just so that you are aware, because I feel like most people like to know what their books are about, this is 13 different perspectives, 13 different, they're not all different time periods, but it's like back and forth, back and forth. Like, I have no idea when I start it what time period I'm in until I'm like a couple of pages into the chapter. And I am kind of irritated because I feel like a lot of people say this is like a short story collection that's just like an interconnected short story collection. And while I kind of understand that perspective, I just completely disagree. I do not think that this is a short story collection. I think that this is a novel. It's just told in a very different format. To me, a short story collection has different stories that are just different. This, I feel like, has a very strong overarching like theme and feeling that I don't necessarily think that short story collections have. And even though like people say it's an interconnected short story collection, like that doesn't, I don't think that that accounts for how important, like I don't think that reading any one of these stories by themselves or any one of these chapters by themselves would have given me a good experience. I mean, like, it would have. Each story is very special and unique, and I'm calling them stories, whatever. Is very different, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I just don't think that I would have felt as strongly about this book if it was just like a short story collection there and a short story collection there. And I know that I think she did publish them like in different locations, so I don't know. Like at the beginning of the book, it says, my ears are like popping or something. It says portions of the work originally appeared in the following, in Granta, like one of them appeared in Granta, one of them appeared in Harper's, etc. But I don't know. To me, like reading them all in this format as a book together, like really just, it made it so good. I don't know. I guess that's all I really have to say about it. I don't. I can't really talk about plot since everything happens so disjointedly, I guess. Which whatever. I still don't think it's a short story collection. I thought it was so magnificent. The only thing I did not like about this was the very last chapters. They're also so different. One of them is told as like an article in a magazine. One of them is literally a PowerPoint presentation. The very last one, though, is set in the future, and I just couldn't get into that one, to be honest. That last chapter, I probably would have given this a 5-star review. I think I gave it 4, but I probably would have given it 5 if it wasn't for that last chapter because it really just, I did not like certain aspects of it. It's set in the future, and so it's basically like people are just like texting to each other all the time, and it's called something like very weird, teeing someone or whatever. But the language that they use, let me see if I can find. This book was written in 2010, and I feel like in 2010 there was a very specific attitude that people had when texting and when using these short formats of communication with people, where they would use like the least amount of letters possible. So like, when you had the number 4 and just the letter U to mean you and stuff. And I just hate that. So there's all this texting, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's so long E's told me he's better. And like, I just hate that so much. And I don't know if it's because I'm almost 30 and I like to read, but I just feel like that's complete garbage and no one speaks like that anymore. Like, I feel like there's this really big push kind of how, like, oh, books are dying and stuff. Like, I feel like it was in that same time period, like the 2010s, like maybe 2008, 2010s, whatever, 2008, 2010 type situation where like people thought that that was kind of going away and then it just totally came back. And I feel like grammar is one of those things where it was totally going out the window. People didn't know which there to use, and now I feel like there's been so much internet shaming, like, oh, you're not using the right there, and people overcorrecting and using like they're possessive when they mean they're, or using they are when they meant they're possessive. And like I feel like there's this like crazy like trying to use as many words as possible now as opposed to as few like letters as possible. So I think that was, I think I'm pretty sure 2010 was like around when that happened. So that just totally took me out of the story and really bummed me out. But the rest of the part in that chapter I think totally works and makes sense because it's a lot about how we're like addicted to our phones and stuff, and like how even babies are using them. And so yeah, I just thought this was fantastic. It has the things that I love, longing and loss and like I just thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I'm not disappointed that I read this. I feel like that was a very strange book talk and didn't really talk about the book very much other than its format. So sorry, y'all, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. If you have read this book, let me know what you thought of it down below, and then we can chat a little bit. Okay.